Well, hello everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to the cover-to-cover walkthrough video of the 2026 Daily Sprouted Planners. I have the planners here. We will dive in very shortly. I just want to give a little bit of a caveat. So the front pages, the front prep pages, they are not, I wouldn't say a lot to go through, but I'm not going to get super detailed on those. So I want to give you a kind of big picture, easy big picture of the planners without diving too deep into the details. So later videos, we will do that. But this, I just want to give you a sense of what the daily planner is. Okay, daily planners, who are they good for? So I think, in my own personal opinion, but what I mean by daily planners is that you have one page per day, as we'll see in here. So every day has its own page. You start fresh every single day. I think that people who are already used to planning are good candidates for the daily planner. So if people who tend to have busier schedules, or they tend to have a lot going on in the day, that this would be a good day for you. If you love starting the page fresh, if you love making big to-do lists, if you love just writing down everything during the day, if you like committing to this is what I'm going to get done during the day, I think these are the type of planners for you. So hopefully you get a better sense if you are on the fence once we go through here, if this is something yes, you would really love. But as I said in my weekly video, if you are just brand new to planning, I think a weekly planner is the best way to start. But if you've been into planning, you like planning, you want to make this a daily habit, I think this is a great planner for you. Currently, I am in the daily planner. So I'm so excited to get started again this year in that. Okay, so let's get started looking at the covers. So let's first start with Flower Child here. So front, back. It's a fun throwback, very kind of hippie 70s time. Flowers here. This is our floral option. And then we have Sea Glass, which is our fabric option. If you can see details there. We have the gold foil little lotus plant. We have Sprouted Planner back here in gold foil as well. So this is our fabric option. And inside, the next two we have our Daisy Blue. And then we have Lemon Drop. And last but certainly not least, we have our Moody Blooms. So those are the cover options. I kind of wanted to show you that in the layouts like this, just because these planners are split into half of years. So you have a January through June and a July through December. So you make one purchase, but you get two planners with it. And you get to choose your covers, but you buy both at one time. I would be remiss if I did not do a fashion show. Since you get to choose your cover options, we got to do a fashion show to see what looks great together. So let's cue the music and do our fashion show. So let's talk about the outside of the planner. For all intents and purposes, I think we can call this a 7x9 planner. So without the coil, it is 7.06 by 8.81. So pretty darn close to that. The page is a little smaller inside. We have 6.4 by 8 by 8. This is meant to be your 7x9 option. So with the coil makes this 7.9 inches wide. The depth of this is just a little over an inch. This is 1.06, and that is the same for both the planners. So you have the same exact size for both these planners. Weight wise, it is 1 pound, 13 ounces. Binding, as you can see, is the coil binding. It's really thick, it's really sturdy, and quality here, and it is in that gold. The covers are hardcover, as you can hear, as you can see. So it is a wrapped board here. So the art is wrapped over this board, so it's nice and sturdy. For you can put something on top here and write on it very easily. When you fold it over and write in your planner, it's just like a good sturdy planner, which I really love. And then the last thing on the exterior is the tab. So as I talked about, as you can see here, this is our January through June option. And then you have your July through December options. So you got 6 tabs per each book. Now let's get into the inside. So the inside, you have your pocket on the right here. And then you do, new this year, have a pocket in the very back. So it's a page, it's a dual-sided pocket as your very last page in the planner. Every planner comes with a stencil, as you can see there. And then every planner also comes with the sticker sheet in the back. They're all designed to fit really nicely inside your planner. Okay, so your paper, let's talk about the paper. The paper is 80 pounds and it has some tooth to it. You run your hand along it, you write on it, you're going to feel some of that tooth. And feedback on it, people say they really like this paper and the feel of it. So I think you're gonna like it. It's nice paper, and I really don't get many complaints about it at all, unless people really love either super slick or super toothy, then, you know. Okay, so let's start here. So we're gonna go through the prep pages, and then we're gonna go kind of through the months and then the days here. Starting with this front prep page, you have your title page, you write your name, and if you ever lose a planner, how they can reach you. Okay, you just have a note from me over here, and then how we can connect and do this together over here. Next, then we start with a start here. And I always want to say, long story short, is you call the shots here. So I lay out how I design this planner, my intentions behind it, the plan behind it, kind of the system that I have in mind. But as you'll see here, it is super functional so that you can really decide how you want this to work for you. So then I go into the layouts, kind of the features of the layouts. And then we have a step-by-step setup. So your prep pages are kind of broken into 3. So you kind of talk about the meatiest part, the one that's going to require the most amount of brain power is the values prep. And we'll go through it, talking about core values, intentions, people, and hopes for the year. Then we have big picture planning, just talking about years at a glance and holidays, and reflecting year lists and all of that stuff. And then we move into the monthly calendars and putting your stuff in there. So if you love checking things off, if you love kind of guided setup, this page is for you. So we go into that first section, the values prep. We start with our core values. If you know anything about a Sprouted planner, it's built on 4 pillars, and one of the values is intention, and it's values-based intention. New this year is, instead of just listing out your values, it's a walkthrough of identifying your values and then writing those intentions based off your values. That's your core values and intentions. Then we move to people. That is another pillar of Sprouted Planner. So you have your people, just talking about how important they are. Also talking about how there's like different levels of people too. I love this new concept. I'm leaning more into it, and just talking about the kind of levels of people and identifying your home team. So you write down your home team people here and your intentions about how you want to stay in connection with them in the year. We move on to hopes for the year, open journaling prompt, along with if you want to talk about certain areas or all these areas, just dumping out like, what's my hopes for the year ahead? Next on, we move to 2026 year at a glance. Added lines down here under each month if you want to do some big picture planning. So we have holidays and observations. We have reflecting forward. I did this practice last year and I think it was really powerful, so I added it to the planner. Do you reflect on the previous year? What do you want less of? What do you want more of? What are kind of themes that you noticed? And then you can set up your year list. So this is your yearly bucket list. What do you want to do in the year ahead? Previews, if you are not new, this was called reminders before, and I thought just a better name for it is previews. Since this is really that big picture before you get it into your months, before you get it into your days, you just have kind of like a preview of the year that you can do whatever you want with this. The 4 quadrants and then the monthly breakdown for the full year. We have trackers here for the first part of the year, since this is only January through June. And then because of that, because I didn't do the full spread like I do January through December, like is in the weekly and hourly planner, I also added a pixel tracker here. So if you've never heard of a pixel tracker, it's such a fun idea. Go into Pinterest, just search it in Google, and it is a color-coded system. You have categories, and then you fill it in for each day. So search it up. I think it's so fun. So I added it on here if you like tracking things. If you don't have to do it. That's how that works. Okay, then we have 2 pages of dot grids and we have 2 lined pages here. Just a note about the notes pages. So you have a couple of these in the front, and then I want to show you after each monthly spread, you have 2 notes pages here. So you got that. And then in the back, in the daily, we couldn't do as much as, say the weekly and the hourly, just because we're dedicating a page to every single day. But you do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages. Yeah, 9 pages in the back that you can work with. Then we move on to our monthly dashboard. So this is going to look the same every single month. You got your dot grid over here, and just a note about the dot grid, it is 5 millimeter in space. Then you have different sections in here to fill out. So that is your dashboard. And then we move into our monthly spread. So the first thing I want to point out, this has not changed. It's changed a little bit, but overall this has not changed too significantly from the years before. The 2 things I want to point out here is up top here, you do have your, I call it your intentional checklist. So this really refers to everything we just talked about, those prep pages. My intention with this list is that you are able to go back and look at all the hard work you did in setting up those prep pages. You can plan forward into your month. So you can look back on your values. What are your values-based intentions? What do you want to focus on this month? What do you want to include there? People, who do you want to pour into this month? Your list. Is there something you want to achieve this month from your list? Previews, go into your January section. Did you include anything there that needs to be done in January? Monthly reflection, that is new because Sprouted planners used to, all the way up to last year, have monthly reflections after each month. That has been changed this year. That is the biggest change of all. So they've been taken out of the planner and put into these booklets. I will do a full walkthrough of the booklets on an own separate video, but you have all your monthly intentions in here now, including your year-end reflection. Let's say you buy this combination. You choose Daisy Blue for the first part of the year, and then you choose Moody Blooms for the second part of the year. The reflection booklet that you would get is Daisy Blue. That is why I added the monthly reflection on here as a reminder to go into your booklet and do your reflections. The other, I would say, biggest change is I just took out the previous month glance. So this is your little calendar down here is for your next month, because it was just taking up a lot of room. And so now you have more dot grid down here. Otherwise, we have the lined boxes that everyone loves. You have your holidays in here. You have a checklist down here in 2 separate columns. Very, very similar monthly layout that you know and love. Okay, moving on. Again, you have the 2 notes pages after every month. And then we move on to what you will see in your week and your days. So let's start with the week here. So every week you have your weekly spread here. You get to plan your week out. So as you can see, this is like a very flowing system. So you plan your year, and then it flows into your month, and you plan your month, and that flows into your week. You plan your week, and then in the daily planner, you plan your day as well. So the weekly planner just has it set up for that. So you've got your Monday through Sunday. Over on this column, there's a spot up here to write your priority, to write your intention for the week. And then you have 2 separate columns with a header bar here. It is split. So for me, I do personal and business, and I have a list for each of those. And then you have a little dot grid down here. So that is your weekly view. And then your day, every single one of your days is going to look like this. Really, nothing has changed on here. I just made this bigger, maybe a little more bolder. Otherwise, this is the same page layout that you know and love from previous years. This is how I designed it. I designed it to have your intention up here, or you can just do your day label if it's, maybe if you work in batches during the day or whatever. So you have your intention or your label for the day, your priority, whatever it could be. Then you have a blank box here. This is where maybe you could also do a priority, or you could do gratitude, you could do meal list, whatever you want here. You have your schedule from 5 to 10. Then you have your to-do list, and you have your 15 checkbox to-do list. And there is a line down here. You can either write right past it, or you could use this as a list area. And then you have a big blank space for notes, and then a space down here to reflect on the day. So that is your every single day. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then again, the weekends even have their own separate pages, and then it just repeats. So you got your weekly dashboard, and then it starts over and over again. And then it just goes like that for the whole rest of the planner. February, all the way through June 29th, June 30th. And then at the end of here, we do have a looking ahead section, and that is looking ahead so that you don't always have to have your second planner on hand, because it gets to a point that things come up, you have appointments come up, that you can start planning into your next planner. So you have July through December here, you have the quick at a glance calendar, so you can kind of bridge that gap between planners right here. And then it moves into those note pages we talked about, the stickers, the pocket page. And that is the end of that. The second half of the year, again, we got the bookmark, title page, whatever I called it. We have a separate letter, and then we just have some refreshers. So we have a refresher about the Sprouted system. We have separate setup steps specific to July through December, so that second half of the year. And so it's all a little condensed. So you're writing down your values again. Maybe they shifted a little bit. You write those down, your intentions. We start out the year in one mindset, and we could be in a completely different mindset or circumstances 6 months later. You write down your people again, and you do a little reflection of how did the first half of the year go? Has it lived up to your hopes? And then what are the hopes for the rest of the year? You have your calendar for just those 6 months. You have your year list. You copy and paste what you haven't done any. Just rewrite those. You can add anything. You can delete anything. That's what's so fun about the daily planners, is you get to kind of do this like reset up halfway through the year. You got your previews again. You got your four quadrants, your 4 quadrants, and then copy and paste what you put on over there, or you can set this up for the next 6 months. You got your trackers again, July through December, another pixel tracker, whatever does that, dot grid, notes pages, monthly dashboard, month, Okay, and then you have the Bridge the Gap for 2027 calendar, your 2027 planner, and you can do some big picture planning here for the following year. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You have 15 notes pages back here. So you get a bunch of notes pages. You get another sticker sheet. You got your pockets, like I mentioned. You then those are your daily planners. Like I said, I am currently in the daily planner. I am loving it. So I hope you love them. I can't wait to hear what you think about it in the comments below. Let me know if you have any questions. Don't hesitate to reach out on this video or to hello@sproutedplanner.com. I would be so happy to answer any of your daily planner questions. Thank you so much for spending your precious time watching this video, and I will catch you on the next one, which will be going through the hourly planner.